One.
Well, 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 here we are again. Harry, great to have you back, brother.
Right.
I have missed you. Kim's been making a great my big sister, she stepped in a couple of occasions. But yeah, great to have you back, brother. How you been?
Oh, not bad. Just keeping busy. That's all. Just running around, unfortunately, like a chicken with no head.
Yeah, yeah. And I'm quite the opposite, but hopefully all that's gonna change very soon. Um, but hi guys, before we get going on this, I put up a video yesterday that I did with Kim. And what happened, what happened was, and this will become apparent in some future stuff, that I made a video on my own. This was about the what happened in South Korea, and it ended up being 12 minutes and 21 seconds. And that, again, blew me away for reasons that will become apparent soon. And then my buddy Jim is an awesome decoder over here, sent me a load more information. So I decided to re-record it, and I asked him to join me. Um, and one of the things that I want to address, because I said I would, is this comment from Bobcat. I did reply to him and say, mate, we'll answer that in this one. So, Harry, I want to know what you think. Bobcat says, one thing I don't understand. What is the point of decoding this stuff when it doesn't change anything or it doesn't improve our lives? Like, what's the takeaway from this? What are we supposed to do with this information, please? And again, Nige, this isn't a personal attack. It's just my thoughts. And then fly on the wall below that. I've had enough of these numbers nonsense. I'm tapping out. Well, the first thing I want to say is that it's not nonsense. Harry, what would be your first reaction to Bob? And I know there are other people that watch our stuff
Yeah.
that kind of feel the same way. So,
Well,
what do you think?
I understand Fly on the Wall and Bobcat. Uh, there's a point where I too see something similar to what Fly on the Wall says. I feel like I want to check out after all the numbers. But you have to understand that, it's not nonsense. It's a proof that we live in the scripted reality. It's all digitally mastered and programmed. And what you're doing, in essence, is showing where the breadcrumbs are taking us, where
Yeah,
the numbers, how they're lined up, and why uh, these people are having a conversation behind the scenes, and only those that can break the code really know what's happening.
mm. Yeah. I mean, and I would totally agree with that. I mean, to both Bob and Fly on the Wall and others who feel the same way. Um, I get you. I get you. I mean, some of this stuff blows me away. Um, has it changed my life? Yeah, totally. Because once you totally understand that we live in a script, then it takes away any fear that you might have. I mean, shout out to my buddy Mike from Sherlock's Apprentice. I mean, I'm not going to kind of present this. Yeah, I'll put it in a future PPT. But Harry, you know how we've talked about the 717 being the Yahweh?
Well, I was
Yeah,
going to bring that up right now. You were talking about Yahweh 717,
yeah,
the Earth realm of humanity being the 616,
yeah.
and you said when you subtract those two numbers, what do you get?
101.
You get the
Yeah,
portal and the two
yeah,
pillars. So
yeah.
again, it's just
101.
another demonstration of how it's a scripted reality. And what did we say earlier? It can be disinteresting to some people, but it can be beautiful to others. They'll see how the numbers just dance. And
Yeah,
and for me, when I see those numbers line up the way that they do, it just it doesn't surprise me anymore because I know where
no.
we are. You know,
Well, let's just take it to let's just one more little bit of information, guys, before Harry gets going with his presentation. If we look at 717 as being a date, that would be July 17th, and if we look at 616 as being a date, that would be June 16th. July the 17th, 717, is the 198th day of the year with 167 days remaining. June the 16th, 616, 198 days remaining, and it's the 167th day of the year. So you've got your 167 and your 198 twice. Well, how does that relate to anything? Well, if you look at 167, 167 is the 39th prime number, but it's also connected to 119 and 223, which is the high watch date for next year. When you look at, I mean, I'll have to do a screenshot to demonstrate that. But if you go onto Gematrinator and click on number properties and type in 167, you'll see it's totally connected to 119, which is the reverse of 911, as well as 223, which is skull and bones. So the whole thing's a script, Bob. Fly on the wall. It's one big script. Okay. So Harry, let me hand the hosting over to you. Make host, and you can get going with what you want to show us. Okay, bro, when you're ready.
All right. All right. So we've been talking about all the stuff that's happening. A lot of people are making predictions. A lot of people are saying things like, "Oh, we're going to have a disaster," or "We're going to have prosperity." So the bottom line is, if you can't see what's actually happening, you're pretty much of no use to anyone who's trying to rescue these people who are stuck in this realm. So how are we going to change that? So the question is, most people are saying, why can't I see reality? And why can't I see these numbers like Nigel sees them? Why can't I understand when the mainstream media is spewing out these stories that aren't true? Why can't I realize it? Why is it that when I'm driving my car, everyone's pushing their brake in front of me? Why is it that I can't see? And the reason is because there's a sensory deprivation, and the detoxifying of the body is essential. All right. So I decided I'm going to do a presentation on detox, and we did say that we were going to do this, so I decided this was the time.
Cool.
All right. I'm not sharing now. Let's see.
You are? I can see it.
Yeah, but it won't go forward.
Oh, just click on the screen. Click on the rather than.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah.
All right. So I decided, okay, what am I going to do? I'm going to do a screenshot of a search just on the Google search on detoxing. The one thing that we probably have to focus on, and that would be the pineal gland. The pineal gland is that gland between the eyes inside the brain that is responsible for, that third eye, being able to see things that others just don't see. But when you look at the search and you got like 195,000 results to choose from, you start seeing, okay, 8 ways to detoxify, top 8 supplements. So I did look into some of those, but I've done my own regimen of detoxing, of which some of them are the pineal gland and other are just digestive. And
right. So you're speaking from personal experience then, Harry,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, because I think it wasn't until that detox process happened that I really was able to shed some of these belief systems and ideas of indoctrination that have been put into us throughout time.
Cool.
All right. So the third eye. All right. So your third eye and your awareness. You have to be able to correlate those two things. Your awareness is dependent on a third eye that's decalcified. If it has calcium buildup through the ingestion of, water that's toxic, foods that are toxic, and of course the air we breathe in that's toxic. Your body's taking in all those things, and those impurities are being deposited in all the different organs, and that third eye is one of the crucial organs that we're going to talk about. So when we looked at that search, so many things to pick from, but just looking at one of the searches, you see what is the pineal gland and what's its function. So I say that I see a lot of half truths in some of these searches, because if they can put in some truth, you may buy it. If they put in half the truth, is it real truth? It's pretty much still a lie, because it's only the truth.
Look, the first thing that jumps out to me, I know you haven't got there yet, but it says it's a small soybean-sized gland. Bullshit.
Okay, so
Bullshit.
they're telling you already that
It's tiny.
small, and it probably is so small it doesn't matter, right?
Yeah.
That's the first thing. I'm surprised that you picked up on the same exact thing. When they say alternative, it's an alternative practice. Already they're telling you that these lab coat priests or judges, whichever you want to look at, are going to not give it their time of day. They say, oh, it's not something that I'm going to talk about because it's nothing that I can charge you. Your insurance won't cover it, so I don't get billed. I can't bill for it.
Yep.
So it says here, what's the function of that gland? Oh, it just improves your sleep.
Yeah.
Well,
Only.
if some people want to sleep, they just take a couple of shots of tequila and they go to sleep. So they're not going to worry about the pineal gland.
Yeah.
So, like you said, it's showing lack of importance. So you read down a little bit farther. It says, oh yeah, it helps with migraines, it helps with sleep, it helps in the production of melatonin. Those are truths, but they're really giving you the minimum of what the gland actually does. And I would say that the mainstream probably doesn't know what the gland really does. So we're going to go down to, I did look at one of those articles on what to do to detoxify the pineal gland. And as I read through them, I think 7 of the 8 are fairly good and are things that I actually do. So I decided to list those 7. So it says take melatonin. Well, I'm going to tell you right now, do not take melatonin in a pill form, because it's not going to really help you to produce more melatonin. It's actually going to probably tell your body to stop producing it. So if you're going to do anything, eat, gland meat like liver, other organs, and that will help you to produce melatonin. Take oregano oil. Oregano oil is a really strong anti.
We pronounce it oregano.
All right. Yeah. Oregano, however you want to pronounce it. But it's an antiseptic. So this thing is going to kill anything that is in your body that shouldn't be there. So naturally, it's going to definitely help in that process of decalcification. And again, just 1 to 2 drops in a glass of water, that stuff still is going to burn going down. Very strong. Chlorophyll. Chlorophyll is so important. If you like seaweed, if you like stuff that's green, and you can consume that, that's a great source. But I just take a capsule called ChloroFresh. It's available online. You can get it through, I think Amazon even has it, but a lot of the health food stores carry it, and it's highly recommended. Many podcasts I've ever even heard that talk about chlorophyll always mention ChloroFresh. I've been taking ChloroFresh for over a year now.
Cool.
Apple cider vinegar.
That's a must.
Raw form. It's a must. But you got to take it a certain way. You can't take it straight like a shot of vinegar. You'll end up burning your esophagus and some of your internal organs. You can pretty much pickle yourself if you don't take it right.
What I do in my fridge, I've got a bottle that I regularly keep of lemon water. Right, so I get a lemon, chop it up, put it in, fill it up with distilled water, and put some turmeric in it and some apple cider vinegar, and that's awesome. Absolutely awesome.
That's a good way to take it. And later on in the presentation, I have a recipe for a good morning and evening dose of how to take the ACV.
Cool.
Another 3 drops of iodine. I put it in my juice sometimes. You can put it in water. You can put it in your smoothie. You can put it in your protein drink, anywhere. Fish oils. Again, just like the melatonin, do not take fish oils in a pill form. Take fish oils through a wild caught fish. I like salmon. Salmon has a good fat, and it is a great source of the fish oil.
Especially raw. Especially raw.
Oh, yeah, of course. Like in a sushi form.
Yeah.
And the last one that I'm going to include on the list of 7 is borax. Borax comes from boron, and a lot of people look at it and say to me, "Whoa, borax? That's like soap, isn't it?" Well, it's a mineral, comes out of the ground, and yeah. So I take all of these things I've used for detox, and then just to kind of round out there's a list of other things that you can take, like coconut oil, chaga mushrooms. Cilantro is key for metallic, getting rid of heavy metals in the blood. And watermelon is good for that as well, and also good for men. Key.
Coconut milk is good as well. Not just coconut oil, but if you can get coconut milk, yeah.
Yeah, coconut milk is what I've replaced regular milk with when I do my protein shakes.
Yeah, me too.
But the key thing here is water. If you're going to drink a lot of water, you have to avoid drinking any tap water, or even some of the basic, just regular spring waters that come in bottles. Those are not good for you because they're kind of acidic, actually, to bring you the truth. And if you just drink tap water, you're just getting way too much fluoride. Most municipalities are fluoridating their water. Fluoride has never proven to be beneficial to us anyway, especially not teeth.
Yeah.
All right. And I'll go into some water issues a little bit later in the presentation. So let's start with borax. Borax, it originates from boron, a naturally occurring mineral. Since the time of the covered wagon and the wagon trains, it's been known as a great detergent, washing things. But this is effective for decalcifying the pineal gland as well. So how do I take it? I just take a small pinch into the bottle or into the box, and I throw that pinch into, let's say, a 32-ounce stainless steel bottle of distilled water. No aluminum or plastic bottles. Those are both leaching things that your body should not be ingesting. So into that bottle, that 32-ounce bottle, I also add half a teaspoon of vitamin C powder, and quarter teaspoon, and a quarter teaspoon of magnesium. 2 ounces of fulvic minerals to remineralize, because I'm not getting any minerals from the water. And I just shake it up. That 32-ounce bottle is going to last me 2 days. And here's the crucial part of the water. Water is a solvent. And if you ingest a lot of water straight, let's say you just drink distilled water straight, or even mineral water for that matter, or bottled water, you're going to just be removing all the salts and minerals from your body, and that's not what you want to do. So another key point, you're going to get your water and some of your decalcification agents in your water. Get some of that water from fruits I stay away from vegetables to a high degree, because a lot of vegetables can incite a response in the body, because fruits are meant to be eaten for their water content.
Yeah. So your 32-inch, it's a stainless steel bottle.
Yeah, stainless steel bottle. uh,
or a glass bottle.
glass
Yeah,
or steel. No
yeah,
plastic. No plastic.
yeah. I've got this this muscle cramp in my right hand calf, my right leg, and it is so uncomfortable. So while you're presenting this, I'm just putting my leg up, so I'm kind of lying on the couch, so
Yeah.
my legs are resting. Go on.
Got to get magnesium into you.
Yeah, bananas.
Yeah. All right. We'll go to the next slide. So we're going to talk about turpentine. There's a couple of things that I've done that some people think are outrageous. The borax was one, and the turpentine is another. You know, people say turpentine. So I did a little bit of research on it just to see what's out there now. I've been taking turpentine now since 2018, not on a continuous basis, but on a cyclical basis. So I found this book on how to get rid of intestinal parasites like Candida, and you wonder what's being put out there, and look at the title of this book. Not
Yeah,
the author's name. His name
yeah.
is
Can't sing.
Chandra can't sing. Poor guy,
Can't sing.
he can't sing. I hope he can heal people though, right? So is that a joke or is that his real name? Probably it's true, but
Who
some
knows?
people will look at that and probably think, "Oh, that's funny. He can't sing."
Yeah.
So what do? I go out and I buy a can of turpentine. So the first time I saw this, I said, "Well, I know they sell turpentine over at my big box store where I get all my lumber when I'm building stuff." And there it is at either Home Depot or Lowe's here in the U.S. But you got to make sure that this is pure gum spirit turpentine. Now there are
Wait,
other. Yeah, go ahead.
Harry, that a far better cleaner than turpentine is actually Coca-Cola.
Sure, not for the same reasons though.
Yeah,
Remember,
absolutely.
turpentine is just the liquid that comes out of the needles of a pine tree. All
Yeah,
right. Pine tree
yeah.
needle, the liquid that comes out of there, that's all that turpentine is. Maybe even the bark as well. First time I ever heard of turpentine being used as a to kill parasites or even to heal illness was from Dr. Jennifer Daniels, who has a podcast on the radio on Sundays. And she was telling the story of where she heard about it through her patients that she had. She was treating patients in her office. And throughout the years, the older patients were telling her stories about what their grandmothers and great grandmothers had learned during the slavery time. Um, the slave owners did not want to pay for their slaves to be treated by doctors. So they were forced to come up with treatments on their own. And I don't know if they just learned them from the indigenous people here, or if they brought it over from wherever they came from, if they didn't come from the United States, the Americas.
Well, it's funny, but all that information, I could use the word lost, but it would have to be, in parentheses because it's not been lost. It's been taken away from us,
Yeah, that's true.
you know?
It's very true. That information, that knowledge base is probably indigenous to the people that were here.
Mm.
So she says that in those early days, the turpentine was taken, and then they'd take a feather off of a bird and dip the feather into the turpentine, and then stick that feather down the throat of someone who had a sore throat or some kind of illness, like laryngitis or something like that, and that would be
Wow, that
their.
rings a bell. That rings a bell from my early childhood, Harry.
Uh-huh.
Wow. Yeah. I hadn't even thought of it until you just mentioned it. That certainly rings a bell. My gran, she would dip the feather in something. I can't remember what it was to treat a sore throat. And she
Yeah,
like, yeah, wow.
yeah, that's the story she
Oh,
told.
wow.
And then from there, she came up with the story was told to her about a protocol, and I'll go into that protocol next. So another person who has a slightly different protocol than Dr. Daniels is Tony from the YouTube channel Herbs Plus Beadworks. And I don't know if you've ever heard that channel, but this guy he's a treasure trove of information. And I've seen him mentioned on other channels too. But this is what the bottle or the can looks like. The brand I got was Crown Turpentine, and it's the pure gum spirits. Again, people say it's only for cleaning your paint brushes, but like I said, I've taken it for years, and all my blood work always comes out good, and I'm still alive.
Well, I guess it's down to the everything in moderation, isn't it? I mean, if
Ah,
you're going to take too much, it's going to hurt you. You've
right,
just got to, you know.
right. So here's the protocol. If you're going to do the turpentine, I have in the top picture the can, and I'm holding up a teaspoon on the top picture and a tablespoon on the bottom. So you're going to have the first thing you got to do, okay, and with anything, you're going to try something new, you have to have a clean diet. I'd say for at least 2 to 3 weeks, maybe 21 days, you got to try to clean up your diet as much as you can. No junk food. You might want to cut out some of the carbs and sugars and sweets because you're going to turn things around and you're going to do this protocol. So the protocol is going to be you're going to try to create an environment inside your body to starve out some of these parasites. All right. So these parasites are going to be looking for when are you going to start giving me the good stuff again, the stuff that they want. It's going to turn into sugar. So the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take 2 teaspoons of the turpentine and put it in a really small bowl or a cup, like a glass cup. And then you're going to take 1 tablespoon of granulated sugar. It can be any kind of sugar, really. Or, and if you don't want to use sugar, you can use something like coconut oil or something that will attract the parasite. You're going to combine
You
those.
know what? You know what? You know what? Hang on.
Yeah.
You know what? Just thought of this. You know, when we were kids, and you don't want to eat your vegetables, right? Mum's cooked dinner, but you don't want to eat your vegetables. And you would always be told, look, if you eat your vegetables, your reward will be dessert.
Yeah.
Right? So you'd eat your vegetables, which are actually good for you, purely and simply so you'd be allowed to eat the sugary shit that comes as a reward for eating your crazy.
Well, and
Anyway.
again, and the reason why you want that sugary, sweet food is because the parasite has kind of taught your brain to have that response.
Yeah.
It's the parasite that wants it, really. Okay. Yeah. So you combine the turpentine and the sugar or the coconut oil, and you mix it together, and then you're gonna eat this, and you're gonna do it every 4 days. So if you start on a Monday, the next day it would be a Friday that you do it, and then 4 days later on a Tuesday, then 4 days later Saturday, Wednesday, Sunday, and you're gonna do this for an entire month, nonstop. And then after that month's over, you're going to take 2 weeks off, and something may happen. And you may see some of these die off. Okay. And so you can be looking down into where the waste goes. You might see something coming out. It may not happen. It may take a couple of times to go through, depending on how clean your diet was going into this. But once you take the 2 weeks off, do the other 30 days again, and do the 2-week break again. And after that, you're probably good for at least 6 months.
Wow. Wow.
All right. So that's that protocol. You can also, we'll get that 10-minute warning over here.
Okay.
The other protocol, and I'm going to kind of speed it up a little bit because you can always read through all the stuff I've written. Orange you glad, we can juice. So
Orange you glad. Okay.
So you're going to take 3 oranges and 3 lemons, and you're going to squeeze the juice and combine them on an empty stomach in the morning. You're going to drink this down. it's going to actually pass through the blood-brain barrier and get anything that has maybe gotten into your cerebral area.
Oh, wow.
These parasites are known for trying to break through that barrier. And if you can do that, drink the orange juice and lemon combo, and you can actually get some relief from that.
Wow.
So ACV and fat elimination. Remember, why do we need to lessen the amount of fat we carry? Some people, they have to ask that question. Well, for one, the purpose of excess fat is what? It's to insulate you for both warmth, protection, like women who gain that extra weight when they're pregnant to protect that baby in case of a fall. But what does that fat do? It gathers all the toxins and the excess drugs and meds and all the bad things. It actually grabs those and stores them
them
in the
yeah
fat.
stores
All
them.
right.
Yeah.
So I've seen it where maybe a former drug user is going in for a detox. He's going into a sauna. He's sweating it out. And in the sauna, he actually has a relapse of what the drug was that he was taking when he was an addict.
Wow.
So they tell people who are former drug addicts, you must be careful when you are detoxing. Never go into a sauna alone. Always go with a buddy in case something happens. So that trapped drug or the parasites or the a lot of the toxins, they're trapped in that fat. So you want to get rid of that fat so you don't reintroduce these things back in your bloodstream. I know people who are a little overweight, they start exercising, they lose fat. Guess what happens to them? They get sick. Why? Because those pathogens are stuck in their fat and have been released into the bloodstream.
Yeah,
So
makes sense.
a great protocol. Apple cider vinegar is great for fat loss. Not I hate saying loss because whatever you lose, you usually find again. Let's say fat removal. So in the morning on an empty stomach, or at night, 3 hours after your meal, you want to brew up a cup of chamomile tea, squeeze a quarter lemon into the tea. You can sweeten it with maybe a drop of honey or some stevia. I prefer stevia. Sprinkle in some cinnamon and 2 tablespoons. This is kind of a big dose. 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar.
Yep.
Stir that up, drink it down, go to bed, or start your morning with that.
I prefer to start my morning with something like that, Harry. So,
Yeah.
I don't know why, but yeah.
All right. And then the last thing we'll touch on today, there's a great liver gallbladder cleanse. I found it on YouTube years ago, probably back in 2016. It's so prevalent that I don't even have to link it. You just search it and you'll find it. You can either use lemon juice or grapefruit juice, of course, fresh squeezed, olive oil, Epsom salt with water. You're going to combine those, in a specific way at a time and timed perfectly. And man, that will clean out your gallbladder and liver like nothing you've ever seen.
Wow.
And then this one here, the organic green coffee enema. I suggest this with anyone who's had any irritable bowel syndrome issues, maybe issues with their digestive tract, not being able to go to the bathroom. Again, the book that I referenced a couple of videos back, very, very crucial. There's a great site. It's called directionwithpurpose.com. This lady provides a green coffee that you brew just for the purpose of doing this enema. It is the best source of product I've ever seen, and I highly recommend it.
Wow.
If you are a member at Crow 777, he has that on his site, and you can get 10% off of the price too.
Wow.
So
I was just listening to Crow with his interview with Howdy Mackie. Oh, I forgot his bloody name.
yeah, I know Howdy. Yeah,
and he was talking about. You remember how I think it was Bruce Lee that was talking about water, and he was saying be like water.
yeah.
If you pour water into a bottle, it becomes the bottle. If you pour water into a teapot, it becomes the teapot.
Yeah.
And he was talking about a while ago. I forget the full story, but the important thing is this: they employed some or asked for some natives to come down and do the proverbial rain dance to
Mhm.
get it to rain. And three of them tried and tried and tried for several days, and they couldn't do it. So they got a hold of this other guy who was from further up north, and he came down, and within a very short period of time, it was raining, and it rained for 3 days.
Mhm.
You've listened to this story, right?
Yeah, yeah, I have.
Yeah, and so afterwards, the guys that were unsuccessful were asking him, why did it work for you and not for us? And he said, because you were asking for rain.
You got to tell it.
I became the rain,
Yeah,
yeah, and
yeah,
wanted more rain.
yeah.
And Hardy said he went out blueberry picking, and he decided if you want to get a good harvest of blueberries, he said, I just became the blueberry.
And started talking to
Yeah,
him. Yeah.
yeah, and then there's blueberries everywhere. You
Mhm.
know, I thought that was really, really interesting. So
That was,
when you
yeah.
relate that to the presentation that you've just made,
Mhm.
you've got to become the thing that you want to be.
Yeah.
If that
And
makes any
it
kind of
makes
sense.
perfect sense. Exactly what I was going to talk about. When you take, like we talked about, distilled water is crucial to drink something very pure.
Hmm.
Think about it. Distilled water has no minerals in it at all. It's completely has become steam and then regathered again as water.
Yeah,
Okay. So let's say you take distilled water and you freeze it. You get a crystal clear ice cube. You freeze regular mineralized water, it's cloudy, cloudy ice
yeah,
cube.
yeah.
You want to be cloudy or do you want to be clear?
So
This is this is the
let's
reason.
let's be clear about this.
This is the reason
Yeah,
why I brought up the topic and why detox is crucial. If you want to be able to see what's really happening and be able to pull the veil away and see what the revelation is, the apocalypse. The apocalypse means unveiling. Okay.
that's all it means.
It's
Yeah,
the
that's all
Greek
it means.
word for unveiling. When people say, oh, the
Yeah.
apocalypse is coming, it's not a destruction, it's a revealing of the truth. And
Well,
you can't
it
see it.
is. It
And
is. I would tend to argue a little bit there, Harry. Because when you say it's not a destruction, it was for me. The Dark Night of the Soul was a total destruction for me. But it's a destruction of your old self
yes.
when you let go of the ego, and you wake up, quote unquote, wake up to what we laughingly call reality. So it is destructive, but not in the way that most people think.
Well,
Right, we got.
they said Jesus came, his next coming will be to be a disruptor, right?
Hmm,
To be he was
yeah,
a disruptor then too. So
hmm,
he came to destroy what was the establishment. So that's what we got to do. That's why he's us. You know,
yeah,
he is us.
yep.
We're here to destroy this establishment. So what my thing again this week, I'm going to say, go detox, so you can actually take action, turn your uh, turn your knowledge into wisdom by action.
Yeah, we got less than a minute, Harry. Thanks again, bro. Thanks for
Yeah.
your absolute input. Let's stop the record. We'll go out and come back,
All
and
right.
we'll just finish up our chat. All right, cheers, guys. Love ya. Comment below, like, share, subscribe.
Take care.
Bye.